What advice would you give people? I mean, you've sort of described CFA as a bit of a gateway into this world of finance and asset management and investment banking, and certainly something that we've spoken about quite a lot on our webinars. And I think a lot of people might give some thought to as a career or an alternative career if they want to change track, etc. I mean, what advice would you give somebody? It sounds like, it's going to be a huge investment in time and possibly money, and something that you should take quite seriously. But what advice do you have for people that might be thinking about CFA, or they've heard about CFA, or they want to get into that type of a career? Where should they start? Things that they need to know about, or that you've seen, in terms of helping people get through the CFA process?
Yeah, I think the first thing is to get yourself informed, set some expectations for yourself as to what's actually required. Essentially, you're going to be walking away with a qualification that is as, if not more, respected than most master's programs. Whenever you get a master's program, if you ever get a master's in whatever, in finance, they'll always ask, where did you get it? And unless it's a Harvard or some Ivy League school, people don't know what that particular MBA means. What that master's in finance means. And the investment there would be, like 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 100, $200,000 for that program. Now, with the CFA, you're looking at a few $1,000s in terms of the fees that go to the institute themselves. So the cost is exponentially lower. However, this is the big catch. You will be paying, but with your time. All right. There's a huge amount of content. And I think the biggest mistake of folk getting into CFA is they don't really understand the time commitment. You will pay for this qualification, but not with your money. It's a very, very affordable qualification given the prestige that comes with it. Not to say that a few $1,000s isn't a few $1,000s, but you're looking at a few $1,000s as opposed to tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars, which you sometimes pay for other master's programs. It's still something insignificant, but by comparison, there's a very cheap qualification for the quality of what you get. The real investment is time. Now, there are 3 levels of the CFA exam, and each level of the exam, you are looking at a minimum investment of about 300 to 400 hours. So, you are looking at about 1,000 plus hours of work if you are successful in your first attempt for every exam. And most charter holders aren't. Most charter holders, the successful guys, will write between 4 and 5 exams. So what you're looking at then is potentially 1,500 hours of time. That's a difficult number to quantify, but let's make it nice and digestible. Let's say the average amount of time that people who are successful per level spend is about 300 hours. And let's then further imagine that you've got 5 months to prepare for a level. 300 hours, 5 months. 5 months, let's assume that there's 30 days in every month. That's 150 days, right? 5 times 30, 150 days. Okay, so we're going to take 300 hours divided by 150 days. What does that mean? It means 2 hours. 2 hours every day for 5 months for one level. There are 3. That means, Peter, if you didn't do your 2 hours today, I'm afraid you've got 4 hours to do tomorrow. And that number is real. That's a real number. That's something that you can't jerry-rig. This is not an exam that is, what's the word? You can't cram for this exam. There's just a huge amount of content, and it just takes time. And I think that is probably the most missed point for folks who get into this prematurely. They haven't done their research. They don't understand that the investment will be in your time, and you've got to be able to compensate. You've got to be able to fit that into your lifestyle. It's doing CFA, Peter. It's a lifestyle choice.
Yeah, no, loud and clear, Jean. I think very important there. And, someone who spent a lot of time with those types of students, seeing them put a lot of time in, but then not enough time, and fail and lose those months and weeks and hours that they've spent doing that. So such valuable advice, I think, from you this afternoon already, Jean.